guys, and welcome back to Smash That Small Paper Pad. So this is a collaboration where a group of fantastic crafters, coordinated by the lovely Deb Houck, are all coming together to use up some of the stickers that are in our stash. We all do it, we all go out there and buy them because the stickers are pretty or they're just interesting, and then, you know, if you're anything like me, they end up sitting in your stash for a rather long time not getting used. So the idea is to use them up. The link to all the ladies in this collaboration will be in the description box below this video, so please do go on over and check them out. So this month I didn't really know what I was going to do. I've got about an hour and a half to go till this video needs to be up. I've been merrily making cogs out of die cuts because I knew I wanted to do something a bit mixed media and a bit steampunky, and I had run out of cogs, so I've made some more. So I did film that. They're done with embossing powders. These ones are done with gesso and paints. So the videos for both well, one video for how I did those will be up later on, either today or tomorrow. So the stickers that I chose to use this month were these ones. I was quite inspired by these light bulb stickers that I found in my stash, but I also found that I'd got these ones as well, which are again light bulbs, but they look like they've got something inside the light bulb, and there's actually 2 layers of those. So I thought I might use some of those as well. Those I got from a pound shop down when I was down in Devon visiting my parents, and these came from AliExpress. And then I've got some of this faux snakeskin sticker as well, which I found in my stash, which came from the range. So I thought I would try and use up some of those. And I thought, because I've been really enjoying doing mixed media, so if you watch my live on Monday, I made these 2 cards. I added the butterfly to this card in the end. That was what was missing. It was driving me mad on the live. I couldn't work out why I didn't like it and what was missing, and it was that there wasn't really a focal point, so I added the pink butterfly to that one. So those are the cards that I made on Monday, and I enjoyed it so much I want to do a bit more. So I thought I would do some mixed media ATC cards. So that's what I've got here. I've cut some cards already out of some watercolour cardstock because I can chuck mediums at it without worrying too much. I've got some stencils out. I've got bits and bobs from my stash, just bits of old papers and maps and things like that out. I've made some cogs. I've got some texture paste ready. I'm just going to go for it, and let's see what happens. So I will make 1 or 2 with you now, and then I will probably get the video up because I'm going to run out of time, and then I'll just carry on because I'm enjoying myself. So I'm going to get my messy pad out. So this is just a big kids drawing pad, and I use it whenever I'm doing mixed media type stuff so that I don't get paint and stuff all over my desk. Okay, so I might run a couple through the with an embossing folder, so I'll just go and do that and I'll come back. Okay, I'm back. So I have run these 2 through embossing folders, a couple of different embossing folders, one with some text and one with like, it almost looks like a bit of wallpaper now. It's quite cool. So I'm gonna I just want some texture to start with. I've got these, which are just the leftover bits from when I was die cutting the cogs. So I am going to chop a piece of that off. I'm probably going to pop that on like that, and then I might do that one like that. But before I stick those down, because I want some text to show from beneath the circle, I'm going to just do a bit of stamping before I put the cardboard down. I can't think today. I can't think and talk at the same time. It's because I'm hurrying, because I am late, as per usual. Running late. Been baking Christmas cakes today, and it just takes up so much time. It's all I seem to have time for at the moment is Christmas cakes and face masks, but they have it. So I've just grabbed a stamp. I'm not worrying about getting getting a perfect image. I don't want a perfect image. I just want a bit of something in the background there, a bit of texture again. It just adds to that visual sort of texture look to it. And then I've got this one, which has got music notes. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to add a bit of music to that one. And I'll just put the lid back on my ink. I'm using Stays On ink so that it doesn't matter what I put over the top of these. It's not going to bleed. So I'm just going to put some glue on the back of here, like that, and I'm going to stick that down like that. And I'm going to just let that dry. I'll let it dry and then I'll snip the excess off. Same with this one. I'm just going to put a bit of glue all over. And I'm going to stick it down. And I'm going to pop that up there to dry. What am I going to do for these two? So for these two, I'm going to do some texture paste. So I've got some homemade texture paste here. I showed on the live how I make my texture paste. So I'm just looking for a palette knife, but it looks like my daughter's run away with all my palette knives. Bear with me. If I rummage around and find some spares. Okay, they're not the best because they're plastic ones and I don't like using them, but we're going to use what we've got, and this is what I've got. So let's have a look then. I'm going to use this stencil, I think, which is just one from Ali. I did used to cut my own stencils when my Scan and Cut worked, but it doesn't anymore, so I don't. So this texture paste has got some microbeads in it, because it's one that I mixed up the other day. But that's okay because it just adds to the texture, and I quite like it with the microbeads. And then there we go. So that one can dry. That needs to go in some water. But I'll do one more with some texture paste. We'll go for this one with the dots. And I'm going to so I'm not covering the whole thing. There's not really any pattern to it. I'm just chucking some texture paste down and then scraping back off. And then there we go. Pop that there like that and leave that one to dry. So I'm going to just go and chuck these things in the wash quickly, because otherwise the texture paste will set like rock. Okay, and then I've got these last two here, and I've got some strips of card left over from actually cutting the cutting the cards. I cannot think today, can I? So I'm just going to randomly glue some of these down. And try not to think about it too much. I'm trying to just glue and stick. And then again, once this is dried, I'm going to go and trim that out. So I'm going to snip that one off now because I can reuse that bit. Okay, and then do the same on this one. Just stick in. Oops. Sticking down the bits of card. There we go. Right, I will do that. I'll dry everything and then I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, so I've stuck everything down. I have chucked a bit of corrugated card on the embossed ones, and it's just the back of a sleeve from a drinks holder. I always save them when I get those. And what I've got left of my texture paste, I've just scraped over the cards here and there because I don't want to throw it away. There's not enough really left to keep. So yeah, I've just sort of tried to use it up a little bit on my ATCs. So I'm ready now to start thinking about the next steps. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is a little bit more stamping just here and there, and I might introduce a bit of book text in places. So I'm just really randomly, and it's almost a bit helpful that I'm in such a hurry because I can't overthink things too much, which I do have a tendency to do. So it's quite good that that's not an option right now because time is ticking. So again, I'm just taking stamps. I'm not even thinking about which card I'm adding these to. I'm just plopping a bit of ink down. And I'll do a little bit more. I've got like a Hessian texture stamp. So there we go. I'll clean all my stamps off afterwards. Okay, and then over to the side I've got bits of this is a bit of sewing pattern. I've got bits of book paper, so I'm just going to use a little bit of Fabri-Tac if I can get it going. I'm going to stick a bit of that in. Like so. Making ink bleed. Maybe we'll go with the tacky glue if I can find it. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm just going to go through these book texts and doilies and maps and ledger papers and things like that. And I'm just going to stick a few bits on here and there onto various cards. Not loads, but just a little bit here and there. And then I will give everything a very light coat of gesso, just to knock this all back into the background. I want to see it, and you will still see it a little bit once it's all done. Just leave that and that will dry, and then I'll cut it off. You will still see bits of it, but it will be very much away in the background. Not sort of part of the main image and the main focus of the cards. So again, I will, to save this video being 3 hours long, I will pause, go away and do it, and I'll come back when I'm done. So I thought I'd just come quickly and show you the difference that a little bit of gesso can make. So I am in the process of gluing all my bits on. This is actually the last piece that I've got to glue on. And I'm just popping it on to my card. And if you look at my card, you can see that really sticks out like a sore thumb. But there are 2 other pieces of map on there that they're still there, and you can still definitely see them. They're just not as vibrant and sort of prominent as when it's got a little bit of gesso. And it really is just a little tiny bit of gesso. So a very light coating. And when that dries, that'll go even more opaque. So you'll definitely still see the map that sits underneath it. It just will become part of the background rather than part of the foreground. Same goes for the stamping. So you can see there that that's the stamping I did with the stays on. Because it stays on, I can put something over the top of it, and I can just knock that back a little bit with just a touch of gesso, and that just takes that right the way back into the background. So I'm going to go and I'm going to gesso over everything and trim everything back and dry everything off, and then I'll be back. Okay, they're all now dry. They've all had a bit of gesso and they're ready to go. Time is ticking. It is nearly 4:30 and this video needs to be up for 5 UK time. So I'm going to concentrate on one. I'm going to do this one with you guys, and then I will come back and do the other ones later, and I'll do an update video later today. So I'm going to use some watercolour to put some colour down on these cards, on these ATC cards. So for this one, I've picked this one, which has got it's one of the ones that I run through the embossing folder. It's got some corrugated card on the back there, some stamping, and it's got some paper that somebody sent me in Happy Mail, and it's a vintage, I think it was like a vintage magazine type thing, obviously from South Dakota. So I'm going to use that one. So I'm not sure what colours I want to use just yet, so I'm just going to wet all of my watercolours. They're just cheap watercolours, so I'm not overly worried. And I'm going to give my card a little spray, and I'm going to pick a couple of paintbrushes up and decide what colours I'm going to go with. I think I will go... I'm tempted to go all sort of old and vintagey on this one. There's obviously something on this paintbrush. I haven't actually got a pot of water. I need to go and get a pot of water. What have I got in there? No, I don't know. Let's go grab some water. Okay, got some water. So I think I'm going to start with a pale yellow, and I'll take it from there. So I'm just going to give that a bit of a spray just to get things moving. And I'm going to start by putting some paint underneath that newspaper sign. I don't really want to cover up the South Dakota. I may put a bit of colour over it in a bit, but to start with, I'm going to start by putting my colour underneath. And I'm just going to keep loading this top bit here. Your watercolours need to be quite wet, and if the card that you're, the substrate that you're working on is wet too, that will help your mediums to flow. So I think I am just going to put a little bit, but I'm going to sort of rub back where the South Dakota is. Right, where is... Got some kitchen roll back. Can I see it? No. Nearly just took a swig of my paint water, thinking it's orange juice. Yeah. So, plenty of paint on there, and then I'm going to spray it. And I'm going to tip it. I'll let it do its thing. Now I'm going to add... I know that's very naughty, I've just gone straight into another colour without cleaning my brush. It's a good job, they're cheap watercolours. And what I'm wanting is for the colour, the pigment, to come down and get between all the crevices on this card. That's starting to look really cool. So this is why I've done it on watercolour paper, because it is, I am getting it quite wet, and if I'd done it on just regular paper, it just wouldn't take the medium, it just wouldn't take the watercolour. That's looking awesome. Right, I'm just going to dry it. Okay, so as that's sort of drying, the colour is blending a little bit, so I'm going to bring another colour in. I'm going to go for this colour here, And I'm just going to put some of that in, followed by some water, and I'm going to again drain that down and let that deep red colour pick up some of that texture. That's looking lovely. Right, so I'm going to I might just put a little bit of this darker one up the top here. Okay, so I'm going to get this dry, and then we can start. Might ink around the edges a little bit, and we'll put our stickers on, and we'll see what what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to grab a distress ink. I think I'm going to go for aged mahogany, if I can find it. What's on with that? Is it already on my desk? Yes, it is. Okay, grab a thing. So this is sort of reddy browny tone, and I think it'll go with that darker red that we've already put in there. And I'm just going to, it's not quite dry, it would have been better if it was completely dry, but I am clock watching now. I'm just going to go around the edges so that it frames the piece, and just bring a little bit of that out. I might actually put a little bit of gilding paste on that, which I did have out because I was using it just a second ago. Hold on with that. Oh, it's there. Right next to my eyes. So regular people will know that my gilding paste is completely dried up, but if I put some sprays of water in and really work it, I can usually get it to work well enough. Okay. I really like that. I think because of the amount of water that I've used on it, and obviously I've put lots of texture on here as well, it has lost some of the really pretty embossing on it. But that's okay. I still like it. It's just not turned out quite the way I thought it was going to, but that's okay. Mixed media rarely does. So next I'm going to pop some stickers on it. Just try and get some of that gold off my fingers. Just move that out of the way for a minute. So let's have a look at the sticker. So I've got the snake skin, which actually the colours are really cool for this. So I might just put just the tiniest slither of the snake skin. So I've just chopped a couple of pieces. I'll go with that one. And get to the sticky bit. Come on, sticker. There we go. I don't like the fact that it's white, so I am just going to go along the edge with that aged mahogany, just to take some of that whiteness off the edge of that one. I'm going to pop that along the bottom there. It's not sticking. Put my glue gun on. They might not stick because of the amount of mediums that are on it, and like I say, it's not actually completely dry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dry it just while the hot glue gun warms. Okay, this video is far too long. I do apologise. I didn't think about the length of the video. Okay, my glue gun's taking too long. I need to get this up, so I'm just going to go with a bit of Fabri-Tac, and I'm going to smush that on down the bottom there. So I've made these cards slightly too small on purpose. I've done them at 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 rather than 2 1/2 by 3 1/2, because I want to mount them onto probably some craft once they're all done and they've had a chance to dry properly, because that will help to get them flattened out a little bit. So yeah, I just thought mixed media very rarely lays flat, so having a bit of having something to stick it down to will help. I'm not able to talk because I'm looking for a piece of the snakeskin that I just snipped off from one end and it's disappeared. Wouldn't you know it? Okay, so I'll just use a bit from the other one. Again, I'm just gonna bit of aged mahogany. My hands are really grubby now. I do apologise. I always get absolutely covered in whatever I'm playing with when I do mixed media. And today is no exception. So there we go. And then I'm just going to snip. Oh, look, I found it now. It's on the back. Snip that bit off. And there we go. Put a little bit more of that ink on and just make sure that the edges of my snake skin get colour too. Then I've got the light bulbs. I'm going to go with one of these nice yellowy ones because I think they will match the project well. I'm going to pop that one on like that. And then I've got some sentiments. Don't dwell in possibility. Is that too long? Oh no, that's just right. In fact, it's exactly right. Just the right size. So I'm going to just put a little bead. My glue gun has now warmed up. Put a little bead of that on, just to help with all the texture, because it is very, very textured. I'm still finding this bit, I don't know, a bit dark. I wonder if, where's the white? I wonder if a tiny, tiny bit of white splatters might help. What have I got that I can do it on? Do it on the lid of this. Like literally. It'll clean up. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop that like that to give that a bit of a protection. There we are. And then maybe a little bit of black as well, actually, because of the sentiment. A little bit of black would probably not go amiss. And then I will mount that one. I might even mount this one on a bit of black cardstock, actually. And that will bring a little bit more of the black in. And I will probably try and find a couple of black gems, which I know I've got in my stash, but I don't think I've got time to look now. myself absolutely covered. Give that a dry, and then we'll see what we've got. Okay, so there it is. That's the first of the light bulb ATCs done. So as you can see, I have backed that on a piece of black cardstock just to help keep it flat and to frame it a little bit. I've added 3 little gold gems up the top there, and I did just with my finger run over with a little bit of white acrylic paint just to lift some of that texture in the background. And I think that's what I don't dislike it, I quite like it, but I think that's what if I were to do it again, this particular one, if I were to change anything, it would be that I'd leave a little bit more white space. And I think that's just because it's a small area, it's easy to overdo it with the colour. So just cleaning up my sentiment a little bit with the baby wipe and the edge of my light bulb. But yeah, I really like that, and I think, you know, by the time I've done all of them, I will have used 8 of these lovely light bulbs, and I think that's a really cool way to use my stickers. And I'm going to have a whole series of mixed media collage ATCs that I can trade in the future if I want to. So don't forget that this is a collaboration. I'm really sorry that this video is so long. Thank you for anybody that has stayed and watched it all. I will come back later once I have finished the other 7 cards, and I will just give you a quick flick through of what I completed. Please do go along and see what everybody else has been creating. I'm sure that there's loads of inspiration out there, and I can't wait to watch. That's it from me for now. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.